In Boston, the former mob boss Whitey Bulger is on trial for 19 murders. Today, he didn't flinch as his one-time right-hand man described how Bulger killed, frequently, in cold blood. But something else that the witness said made Bulger go ballistic today, and Don Daler was in the courthouse.
Near the end of Kevin Weeks' testimony, he called his former boss a rat. In front of the jury, the two men shouted at each other, "Blank you." The judge had to restore order. Weeks is a confessed killer who considered James Whitey Bulger his mentor for almost 20 years.
Bulger became furious when his former protege, Kevin Weeks, got on the stand and talked about him being a rat. He said he felt bad that about the people they had killed, that they killed people for being rats, and that the biggest rats of all were right next to him, referring to Bulger and his partner Steve Fleming. So when Kevin called him a rat, Bulger lost his temper for the second time during this trial.
The 83-year-old faces life in prison if convicted. Through his attorney, Bulger admitted to quite a few crimes in court, including extortion, violence, and bribery. But Scott, the two things he insists he never did: kill women and be an informant.
Now, in 2011, and as we mentioned a minute ago, after 16 years on the run, Whitey Bulger was eventually captured. How did you feel about that when you heard that news?
Sick. You know, my phone was ringing off the hook early in the morning, and people telling me, you know, they caught the big guy, you know, this stuff. I was just sick about it because I knew what was coming.
And eventually you would testify against Bulger in court. And I know at one point, I remember seeing in the news, it got pretty heated at one time. What was that interaction like?
Well, you know, I mean, the guy was, you know, like my closest friend and everything. And I was on the stand, and his lawyer, who was a joke. I mean, he pled guilty to half the charges. He pled guilty to everything basically except for murdering a woman and being an informant. And then his lawyer starts on me because I cooperated. You're a rat. So I got heated, you know. And he says, nothing bothers you at all. He says, you have no remorse, nothing bothers me. I says, you don't know what bothers me. He said, nothing bothers you at all. You're reformed, huh? I says, I didn't say that. I said, but I didn't say nothing bothers me. He goes, yeah, well, what bothers you? And he kept on with it. And I finally said, you know what bothers me? I said, we killed people for being informants, and I had the two biggest rats next to me. And Jimmy looks at me and he goes, you know, he's only 10 feet away from me. He says, you suck. After everything I've done for this guy, and I'm letting, you know, his lawyers, I look at my face and he said, fuck you, you know? And he says, no, fuck you. So my kid's going at it. And I jumped up and my knees hit the table and the table banged.
Wow.
And, you know,
yeah, I remember hearing this.
Yeah. Basically, he said, F you. I says, you could never beat me when you were young, and you still can't beat me. I mean, I was ripping. And the judge is banging the gavel, and the bailiffs come over.